Guys, we are live. I am live with Frank Rhodes Jr. And we're going to talk. Guys, tell me real quick, please. I went ahead and unplugged my mics. I am getting all sorts of problems on YouTube's app. I don't know what the deal is, but hopefully we're live. Tell me if you guys can hear me. Please give me a mic check and tell me if we're live and you guys can hear both Frank and I. Sovereign Knight, if you're on, please let me know if you guys can hear me. So we should be live, guys. So give me 1 second. Let me check in with everybody. All right, let's see. YouTube directly. Horrible. Wow, it's like we're live, but it's like nobody's seeing us. It's weird. 33 people on. Let me go back out real quick, guys. Let me double check this. Make sure.
And someone said finally.
Finally. All right. So did we, guys, give me a mic check real quick. Let me know if you can hear us okay. Before we get too far down this road, I want to make sure everybody can hear.
Someone said, hey, sweet, working. We can see you guys.
Finally. Now you can see us. Now you can hear us. Good news. Okay. All right. Cool. So we can hear you. All right. Finally. I don't know what's wrong with the YouTube app, guys. I am so sorry. Frank, thank you for your patience. I really appreciate you being on with me tonight. We've had such a hard time getting on. So I'm so glad everybody can be here live. I wanted to do a live with you. We did talk on the phone a couple of times, but I wanted to kind of give you an opportunity to talk to my audience, pretty big Mopar crew, about kind of your thoughts about buying Chrysler, buying Dodge. Why would you want to do that? Tell us a little bit about kind of your history with the brand and what led you down the road to send a 17-page kind of proposal, if you will, or just, basically it was an ask to just meet with them about the possibility of, could we buy Chrysler and buy Dodge back? So tell us what led you to make that decision.
Well, first of all, I really appreciate all the diehard Mopar fans being on here tonight because it's really special. We're like a family. I look at it that way because I have a lot of friends that I've met within the last week, last year. And when I meet someone who's a Mopar aficionado and knows what they're doing about the brand, I consider them an instant friend. So not saying that the other brands aren't, but Mopar is a very, very special group. So I started this. I've been following the brand for years, like a lot of people on here have. And when Chrysler was sold to the Germans years ago, that was a big mess. I was sad that happened. And then it went over to who was the next guy that had it? Cerebus Capital. And then it went to the Italians. And I've been seeing everything just sort of slowing up, especially with the Chrysler brand. It's like they never have any. They never say what they're going to do. It's very, very slow. All the other brands, when you look at that list, they have products way out, but it hasn't been for Chrysler. So I've been noticing this, but I really haven't said anything. I want to make sure the brand survives. So about 3 weeks ago, they said they're going to extend the Chrysler brand 3 months next year. And I was like, I had it. I've had it. I've been nice. I try to be a good guy, and I've just had it. And I said, I've got to do something. And because I've been talking to friends and they say, when's the axe going to come down? That's what I think people are thinking. When is the brand going to be axed?
Right.
And I had to speak up. So that's why I'm doing this. This is going to be a tough road, but I'm in it for the fight. We're going to continue going, and I'm not going to give up. I'm going to do it as long as I can. And that's my plan.
Right. No, I mean, I think it's amazing. I mean, I think a lot of people would really like to see the somehow, some way, right? Chrysler and Dodge and really Ram and Jeep, kind of everybody return back to American ownership, because I've said it on many of my videos. I feel like maybe the brands just feel a little bit out of place under Stellantis leadership. Obviously, they really understand the European consumer. They're going down a whole different road, and for an enthusiast like you and an enthusiast like me, it's a little bit of a hard pill to swallow watching them kind of go down just a completely different road. And I realize I try and be open-minded about things, but like you said, like when you're talking about somebody like that's a Chrysler purist like yourself, right? I mean, you had a great grandfather that started this company. I literally was just in Michigan and I drove right by the Chrysler building, and the thought of them closing that building down possibly, it just shook me to my core. And then I think about what they've given Chrysler over the past, say, like, how many years, right? How long has it been since Chrysler has had anything that's kind of new and exciting, right? I mean, we love the 300C. You own one of those, but like, I mean, they took away the 300 because it had the same chassis as the Charger, and now we have one minivan for Chrysler, and we don't have anything else coming. So,
Well, I'm waiting on the minivan or the Pacifica. I mean, they took the name off of the rocker panel. They've taken the name off the whole car except that little blue badge, which all they have to do is they could just get rid of it and switch that onto something else. I mean, I can see the writing on the wall. The Ram brand and the Jeep are separated. Okay, they took those out when a long time ago when Marchione came in. So what I'm thinking of is that it's they wanted to separate it, and then these other brands they're just letting slowly. In my opinion, now I just think they're not giving them any brands, any structure, and I think they want to see it slowly go away. That's my opinion only, because what's coming out? Nothing. It's all excuses. It's all we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and they say they're going to do electric. But now I'm wondering because I've been till recently writing folks and saying, well, if they're waiting, maybe they're waiting for the election. Who knows? But last year or 2 years ago, Mr. Tavares and the Toyota brand both said that this electric thing is started by the politicians, which is true. But I think I could be wrong here too. In my opinion, they have received hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars from the United States government to fund this electric program. Is electric going to work? I mean, I talked to a dealer yesterday. They have two cars coming in, a Charger and one of the other ones, and they're going to be $80,000. Now, how can people afford that? First of all, we need better pricing on these cars, and we
yeah.
need something to sell. You go to the dealer. What do you have to sell? You have a bunch of Hornets. Okay, you have those. You have these expensive trucks, and I get it. There's a lot of people that need those, but for the average person to go in there and want a car, there's nothing for Chrysler. There's nothing there to buy, in my opinion.
No, I understand, and I know it's tough. And one of the things you said in your proposal was one of the things that both Dodge and Chrysler they need to do is find kind of some pricing tiers, right? I mean, they don't really have anything for people that don't make a lot of money, So there are awful lot of people that don't make $150,000 a year and can't afford an 80 or $100,000 truck. And one of the things that you mentioned to me, and I saw it in your proposal as well, is like, what are we doing for people that don't make a ton of money? How are we keeping the prices down? And I know it's tough. Obviously, you've got a lot of things at play there from a pricing perspective. But I know that was one of your goals, and one of the reasons you wanted to bring back the Chrysler and the Dodge brand is to try and give people, yeah, you want high horsepower stuff, I get it, but you also want to bring kind of maybe the younger generation along for the ride and maybe give them something that's not so expensive, maybe not so much technology packed in as well, right?
I like that. With all this technology we have, I mean, in my 300 I bought 5 years ago, I got a lifetime warranty. Okay. Well, I'm glad it was the last day that I got that warranty. And about 2 months ago, the whole dash panel went out for the radio. It would have been a $1,600 repair. Well, with my deductible, it was $100. But just think of the people that have these cars and they have this stuff go wrong with all these electronics. In 10 years, you're not going to be able to find this stuff. It's just not good. We got to have products that people know can last. Like the old time, you had the dial. Everything was simple. And I know life is complicated with all these features, these protections you have to have from the government. But there's got to be a way to make it better. And we need great designs, and we need to move. I don't want the same old car year after year after year. And regarding these Hornets, I don't know how they have a lot in stock. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're made in Italy. Is that correct?
Well, the Hornet, trying to think exactly where. I mean, the Hornet it's basically a Alfa Romeo Tonale. When I say basically, I mean in every way, right?
Okay,
The badge is different.
it might be built down in Mexico or wherever it's built. But
Yeah.
they ship it. If it is built in Italy, they ship it over here. And how much does that cost? We need jobs for our workers here. There's got to be a way for that our union workers can produce cars reasonably. I mean, they have all these empty plants. What are we going to do? Wipe out our whole country with no manufacturing? That's where we're going, and it's really sad. And
That's the goal,
I
I
don't,
think. I understand you 100%, Fran. I think that's one of the things that you put in your proposal too. Is you want to protect American jobs. That's a big deal for you.
it
And
is a
that's
big
one of the
deal.
things that you wanted to stress upon. And I know it's tough. I mean, we'll talk about kind of the Stellantis response today in a minute, but I just kind of wanted to give people an opportunity to understand your thought process when you generated this kind of 17-page sort of it was more of a meeting proposal than anything else. It was like, hey, can I can we sit down and have a talk about, the possibility of this? And you didn't talk really a lot of, there was no talk about budget. There was no talk about a lot of the many, many hundreds of things that would have to take place in order to make this work. It was just, can we start a conversation here? That was your whole goal. And I know that's a hard thing to do with Stellantis. But I thought you made so many really good points. And my crew, I mean, everybody that's on this live right now, everybody that's going to watch this live later, a lot of people agree with many, many of the things that you brought up and things that you said in terms of where the brands are going, maybe some of the deficiencies with quality, right? We talked a little bit about that. And what are we doing for different tiers, price wise, and are we giving people anything exciting coming up? I mean, we know Chrysler with the minivan, right? I mean, even from a Dodge perspective, I mean, how do you feel about Dodge right now?
Well, okay, let me go back to the Chrysler thing real good, and I'll go to Dodge.
Sure.
Chrysler needs exciting products. I understand they call it a people moving whatever. I don't agree with that. Chrysler can come out with exciting products. I know it can be done. And the one thing about Chrysler and Dodge too is that everyone in this country knows what the brands are. Are you going to get someone in the Midwest to buy all these foreign cars? I don't think so. They know what the brand is. We can make it work. And the product, we just need to make better product with parts. Like one of the union places said they need a part, something on the line that it makes sure the parts are okay. We bought some cars recently. There's parts, there's problems. This needs to be fixed, and we have to have quality control. That's one of the main things. And I think Stellantis is just letting the quality control go. And in my opinion, I don't think they care a lot. I mean, all these cars, a lot of them are breaking. And I think that we need to fight these folks. And I am not going to give up. I just want to tell you before, this is not over. So,
Right. So, in reference to that, obviously, just a little bit ago, earlier today, Stellantis, instead of talking to you, obviously, because you were the one that submitted this proposal, if you will, they just kind of put out a statement that was like, "We're not interested in selling any brands." But as you mentioned, your resolve is there, right? It's not like you're just going to go away and you're going to
no,
say,
we're not.
"Oh, well, they're not interested, so I'm just going to give up." You're going to continue, and I think you mentioned to me earlier, it's going to be if you're going to have any success at all, it's going to be a long fight, right? It's going to be a long road to success. It's not going to be easy, and you told me even now, just after this amount of time, you're already pretty tired, and I think anybody can relate to that. But I think people do realize that you're a car guy at the heart. I mean, that's really, you're an enthusiast, you're a car guy, and people can relate to you. And even in your proposal, you didn't hold back on the stuff that you said. I was like, wow.
It's all true. It's everything we have in our proposal is true. And I think Stellantis, they just want me to cave. They want me to give up. I'm not a quitter. I am not a quitter. I don't know how long this is going to go, but I want to go right to the end. We're going to keep fighting them, and they're going to make me want to go away. I'm not going away. I want everyone to know that I'm in this for the long haul. And it's taken up a lot of my time. And I started this 2 weeks ago. I can't believe all the love and excitement out there. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people are writing. I'm getting emails. I'm getting responses. And I look at, there's a few negative. You're always going to get the negative vibes. Maybe they're coming from some other brand, but we have something going, and we've brought something out that no one wanted to talk about. It's like a wound there, and we've exposed it, and we're going to keep fighting these guys. I just, that's all I have to say, because first of all, look, Chrysler goes back a long ways. My great grandfather, I'm just going to go into this a little bit.
Sure.
He started with meager means. He traveled all over the country. He was in the railroad business. He was an apprentice worker, and he ended up ending at the American Locomotives Work as the works manager. From there, he was hired from Billy Durant. Nash hired him to repair the Buick brand, which he did, and
Sure.
he learned a lot of his ideas, like the rubber engine mounts and the hydraulic brakes. Those all came from the railroad industry. He was a machinist. I just, he had so much quality. When he came in there, he was a smart man. And one of the best things that he did, he was good to his workers. He treated his workers like they were his family. Because I have stories, I've heard it from my grandmother, how they, it was like family. And that's really important. And when I go up to Detroit, those are the folks I want to meet. I like to go and talk to the people that do the work, because those are the people that earn or deserve the respect of building these products. And
Sure.
I'm just, in my opinion, I don't think they have a lot of care, the Stellantis folks, because I've talked to a lot of people in factories right now, people that work up there. They don't have any respect for the company. Now, that doesn't mean it can change, and maybe it will, and maybe Stellantis will try to make a big change right now, but I don't see it happening. It's all a bunch of fluff. Well, they're going to do this, they're going to do that, and I'm tired of seeing it. And that's why 2 weeks ago I just said I've got to write something, and now look where we are. 2 weeks later, we've got a whole movement going, and I'm not going to give up. I've got to keep it going. I just want people to know that I'm
Yeah.
here. I'm talking. And another thing is, I've gotten so many letters, I can't even write everyone back. I try. I'm going to try, but it's hard. I've got my family, and this is a full-time job, and I've opened up, and I've cared about this brand for so long. I've been up to Detroit. I've been to so many events at the museum they had up there, and all the executives. And when Dieter Zesche was there, I met with him. I met with
Yeah.
Robert Eaton. I met with Mr. Lee Iacocca. I met with all those folks. And slowly the brand has been whittling away and whittling away. And why they sold it to the Germans, I will never understand, because there was $10 billion worth of cash, 10 billion at that time. And I just don't know why they it's sort of like Budweiser selling to the Europeans. We got to keep our American brands here, right in the United States. And this is an American brand, and we're losing our heritage there. And it means a lot to me. All this
Yeah.
stuff that Chrysler has done, people don't even know all the things that Chrysler done. They sent our first astronaut into space. I mean, there's so many. I'm going to go over. I have a lot of videos and a lot of stories I want to do, and I just can't do it all. It's very, very challenging. And now we've got a team, and we're going to fight.
Yeah. No, and I think everybody really respects what you're trying to do. I think any pure like enthusiast has a great respect and understands kind of your intentions here. And I think that's why so many people are behind you. That's why you're getting so many phone calls. That's why I got on a line earlier today and I literally saw hundreds of articles about your proposal. Obviously, the video I just put out a couple of days ago, over 100,000 views. People are watching you right now, but everybody's just kind of got their popcorn waiting to see what's going to happen. And one of the questions I get a lot, and you probably see the comment section blow up on this, but how can the average enthusiast, guys like me, all the people on the channel, 300 some odd people watching just right now, um, how can we help your cause? Is there anything we can do to get behind you to try and continue to put pressure on Stellantis, either to one, just make a change, or two, consider having a conversation with you?
Every week or every 2 weeks, we're gonna continue our plan. We are going to come out with great plans, and when I need help, I'm going to ask everyone for it. I'm going to go out there and present our plan, because I think people want this brand to survive, and we are going to have a plan, and we're going to come out with ideas. I right now I just can't go into it. Not that I don't want to, but I got to be a little careful of what we're doing. And
Yeah.
this means a lot to me. And I want to go back one more time. Our American workers are there to work, and they don't have anything to build. There's nothing to build. That Belvedere plant is all closed down. Stellantis was going to put an electric plant there or something. They stopped all that. Why? Why did they do that? And I think they're holding off until the union contract is in. I mean, I understand the prices went up for the labor, but they earn good money, and they need to earn money because they build a great product. But Stellantis is making the prices so high that people can't afford it, and they're cutting. And a lot of the plants, they're taking away. They don't cut the grass anymore. There's all little and that's just little stuff. But you know something, when you go to a place, you want it to look good, you want it to feel good.
It's pride of ownership. Yeah. I
And I don't
understand.
think there's a lot of pride there right now. I don't think the Stellantis folks care. And this is all my opinion. Okay, I'm just telling you, I want to see this brand rock, and I know we can do it if we can just keep moving forward. We've had great ideas, and I'm taking great ideas from folks. And I love all the comments I've gotten. As I said, if you don't hear from me, if you write me a letter and I don't write back, just be patient. I'll do my best. But I'm only one. Well, I have more people help me now, but this is a lot. And Chrysler is such a great brand in this country, a part of the big three. And now it's whittled down to one vehicle. I mean, why did they let that happen? I don't know. I know that we want to switch to electric. I get that. But is electric really going to sell? I have a lot of articles. Is it going to take off? I know they're trying, but
Right.
can you go out and find, you go to a supermarket, how many of those electric chargers are out there? And where are they? People just don't know. When you travel from town to town, I know that Tesla has different areas where you can park your car, but gosh, if you want to move, you got to wait. and people don't want that. I think hybrid's the way to go, in my opinion.
Yeah, you did mention in your proposal about hybrid, and we talked about it. And I have mentioned that I feel like the hybrid is a great way to go, especially if you're just like your average everyday commuter car. You even got cars out there like the E-Ray. A lot of the really high end exotic cars are actually going to hybrid now. Even Lambo and stuff like that, you're starting to see hybrids creep up. So obviously, there's a lot to be said for hybrid technology, and you kind of get the best of both worlds, right? I mean, like I said, I use the E-Ray example where you get a fire-breathing V8 behind your head with two electric motors on the front axles, and off she goes, right?
You
So,
mentioned
I,
you mentioned Lambo. I think Chrysler under Lee Iacocca owned them for about 3 or 4 years. I'm pretty sure way back when
yeah,
they
yeah.
understand
There's a
them.
long history. There's a long history there too, and that's one of the things that I kind of mentioned back when I was mentioning sort of the Dodge brand, because the Dodge brand to me, it's near and dear to my heart. It is a brand of enthusiasts, right? And
Yeah.
I kind of I equated it to, like, if you think about Ferrari, right? You don't think about commuter cars. You don't think about just selling mini, but you think about fun cars. Those are cars you buy with your heart and not your head, right? You buy Toyotas with your head. You buy Ferraris and Lamborghinis with your heart. And Dodge is kind of that same way, right? I mean, it's not quite high end like you would consider those to be, but Dodge is a brand that has built itself on, appealing to enthusiasts. And
Oh,
that's the
without
truth
a
of
doubt.
it.
All the muscle cars, all those cars.
Right.
I think someday we need to bring the Plymouth brand back, but who knows where we're going with that. But
Imagine a new Cuda, right? We've
yeah, new CUDA. There you go. So I think the Dodge brand has so much, potential. I don't know. Everyone wants the V8s, and I understand that we are going to emissions and all that kind of stuff. But maybe look what Ford and GM are doing. They're saying the heck with this. They're building V8s. Meanwhile, Stellantis is going to all this electric stuff. I think they're being paid by the government. That's what I think is going on, and they're taking all this money, and they don't, and they just don't want to change. That's what I think. Look at Ford. They stopped. They're not going to build that. What is that?
they've got a new truck that they kind of put the axe on, so they're not building a new EV. And there's a new SUV they were going to build, and they
they
pulled
axed
back
that.
away. Yeah, they pulled away from that as well. They're going back to internal combustion.
And I guess General Motors, they said by I think it was not 2030 they're going to, or whatever, they're going to be all electric. Now, do you think that's going to happen? I don't think so. They're going to have to stick with gas motors. They're just not going away. And there might be another technology coming on. I just think this electric thing is a problem. And I'm all for the environment. Don't get me wrong. I am all for the environment. But these people are pushing this stuff on us. And I don't think it's the right thing to do. And I don't want, another thing is, the Chinese want to come in here, as far as I'm concerned. They want to get into this country. And I hope that doesn't happen, because they're going to come in with all these cheap cars. And even if there was a rumor going that they were going to buy Chrysler, what I heard one of the congressmen up in Detroit said, no way, that will never happen. So we've got to just be careful. The Chinese have so much money and so much power, and I want to see the Chrysler brand stay. Now, who knows where all this is going, but we need to fight it, and we need to keep American products in America.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people would, they would second that sentiment. What you just said. There's a lot of people that feel the exact way that you do. Certainly the enthusiast community, but there's a lot of other people. A lot of the people that work for these companies, as you mentioned. I feel like they would stand behind you on this as well. And I'm an enthusiast at the end of the day. I don't want to see these brands go away, and I think even if nothing comes of this, and you just fight tooth and nail, which you are doing right now, and you will continue to do, and I think we can all respect that and get behind you. And I think there's so many people, as I mentioned, that want to find a way to help you do this. And you didn't just jump into this like one day. You're like, I'm just going to do it, and with
No,
no
no,
plan,
no.
because
But
you
I'd had enough. I've
yeah,
been
but
not.
we talked about you went in and you have plans. I mean, we I can't divulge what you told me, but I know that you had a lot of plans going into this about raising capital, because a lot of people are questioning that. You've got a lot of plans on how to do all of that. It's just a matter of, but you can't do much until you sit down in front of these guys. But at the very least, maybe it's a conversation starter to get in there with Stellantis and say, look, we need da 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 da, and just start moving things in the right direction. Like we talked about before, you can't move a mountain in one day, but one piece at a time. You never know.
I started this, and I was like, this is just taking off. And I think of it, I'm not putting any patting myself on the back, but there aren't a lot of people that really could have done this. And the conversation is starting. We need to bring it up now. This is American, and we are Americans. This is the land of the free, and we're allowed to do what we want. And I brought this up, and now I'm going to keep pushing forward. I just never knew it would grow like it did, but I'm glad it did, because the people at Stellantis, they need to wake up. They need to know what the people in this country want. And I don't, and I've talked to so many people. They said, Frank, you're saying just what we've been thinking. Everyone, you're saying just what all of us have been thinking. So I'm starting the conversation. And when you start a conversation, we can keep it grow. And I know people will be there to help, because I'm going to come up with great ideas. I just can't go into it all right now. And it's very fluid. It's very fluid. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I know there's a lot of moving parts right now. Obviously, like I said, Stellantis responded earlier today. I know that you have some other stuff that you will probably come back out with later on, in
oh,
terms of
yeah.
formal response, which you can't really talk about right now. But it's a conversation starter, and it's something when you're talking about a company that does billions and billions of dollars. We're looking at it's not easy to kick down the door, right? And
No.
but like I said, I think the more you push down this road, and the more people kind of take notice of as to what you're trying to do, the more your cause will grow. And that's really one of the big reasons I wanted to have this live with you tonight, is so people could, one, get to know you a little bit, understand your cause, understand why you're doing this, and how to support you in your effort. Because like I said, I mean, you said what a lot of people wanted to say but didn't have the means by which to do it, or didn't necessarily have the platform, or obviously with your heritage behind the Chrysler brand, you have a little more pull than the average guy. But
Well,
you're just a guy like you and me, right? We're all just car
we're
people.
all the same. All of our families are equal. People come up, oh my gosh, your great grandfather is Walter Chrysler. I said, I want to know about your family. I want to know about everyone else. We're all in this together. I will say one thing. My grandmother, she died just before 1980. And I remember about 6 months before she died, because Chrysler was going back. It was really sad, because she saw this company grow,
Yeah,
and her father's legacy was going down going pretty badly. And she said, Frank, do what you can to keep the engine running. And I'll never forget that. And this has been my mission, um, to do something. And I got to do it. I've got to do this. And no matter what the outcome is, it is done. And people know that there are people that care. It's just like you. I mean, look at your show. You're totally into the Dodge and all these brands, and I just think it's great. Let's keep the momentum going. That's my whole goal. Chrysler, Mopar, Plymouth, and Dodge. I mean, the Mopar brand will be probably pretty hard to get. We'd love to get that,
yeah.
because it's all as a team. And they spun off Ram, so those are the money makers for Stellantis. But you know something? Never say never. That's what I say.
So do you think that, and a lot of people wanted to know this, do you think that Ram and Jeep could be part of this discussion, or do you feel like those are just, it's a hard reach to include those two brands? So how do you feel about those two?
Well, right now we're focused on the four brands that we put in our proposal, especially the Chrysler and the Dodge and the Mopar. We're going to stick with that right now. Never know what's going to happen down the road. I don't know if this place is going to implode, what the union's going to do, but we're on a holding pattern right now. I want to focus on what our proposal said. We didn't include Ram and we didn't include Jeep, because they make a lot of money for Stellantis. But on the other hand, you never know what can happen. We're just going to keep fighting these guys. And I know that they got this company fair, like they got it under Marcioni. They got it pretty, they got a good deal. And then another thing is, they made that 200 and all those cars. Why did they discontinue those? That was a good product, but they just dropped it. And I think why, in my opinion, again, is that the union, or under the Obama administration, they had a price structure where Chrysler didn't have to pay much, and every year the union got more money. I understand that, because they had to sacrifice too. Well, they probably saw the writings on the wall. Every year you had to pay more money. I don't know what the figures are, but it cost more and more to build that car. And they just said, the heck with it. And I think Marcioni says, I'm not in the business to make cars. I'm in the business to make money. I get all that, but they could have kept the brand. So they came in saying, well, we're going to do all this stuff with Chrysler. And they did a great job. They had that M&M commercial and all that. But look what's happening. It's gone to nothing.
So, I completely understand what you're saying. I think a lot of people would agree with that. So I want to throw just a little bit of a hypothetical something at you really quick. If
Sure.
if you were to get some sort of traction with Stellantis on this, would you make an effort to somehow revise a V8 and bring it back? What are your thoughts on that?
Look, I'm in it for excitement. If we could do something like that, Sure, let's do it. Because all the other people are doing it. If Ford and GM are doing it, why can't Chrysler? Because I think this company, being in Europe, they're caving to all that electric stuff over there, and they're caving to all the European ideals. So this is America. We're totally different. And when Mr. Tavares, I'd written a few letters, I'm not going to mention to who, man, I was saying, like, does this man really know the American market? And then didn't he come out last week and says, I don't understand the market or whatever? I don't even know what he said. I just I don't think the guy has a feel for what we're doing over here. He wants to make money. He's made all his goals, and the reason he made all this $40 million, which was earned because the board of directors over there said, "Look, you meet this goal, you meet this goal, you meet your goals, you're going to get more and more money." And he met all the goals. Okay, then he comes over here and closes the plants and says, the workers aren't going to get their jobs. I mean, what's the deal here? That's $40 million. I get it. But you don't need that kind of money. Come over here and act like a person. Go meet with the people. Go on the assembly lines. Talk to the workers. And I don't see them doing that. I think they're like they go over and they hang out in their ivory towers or whatever over in Europe.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I'm just that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I understand, and I know for sure that you've personally talked to a lot of the people that build, the Chrysler product, and I feel like you've got a pretty good pulse on a lot of the people around the Mopar world.
Oh, I do. Without a
And I
doubt.
think that's really, really cool. And I mean, I think obviously you've got the family heritage there as well, but I think a lot of people can just sense your passion, and I think that's what's special to me. And one of the big reasons I wanted to talk to you in person is people can feel that. People can feel when things are genuine and you're passionate about something. And if anything happens at all with this, like I said, maybe it just opens up a few eyes at Stellantis at the very minimum. And I know you're not going to stop there, but it's progress. And I feel like if we can make if we can make a little headway and get people excited about these brands
Yes.
again, where they're not just sweeping it under the rug and it's like, hey, we're not giving you any new product to get excited about. I mean, and I really feel like knowing a couple of the folks, high up at Dodge, that I feel like they would love to open up the playbook if they were given, if they could take the
Oh,
handcuffs off.
yes, yes, and I'm sure there's great ideas. I know there are great ideas. We just have to harness all this, these really brilliant people, these engineers, and put together some products that are fresh and exciting. Now I know it all costs money, but we need something. Chrysler and Dodge need something very, very exciting. Now the new electric cars, I think they're exciting, but I think they're going to be priced out of the market, in my opinion. But Chrysler can do it. We have so many ideas. I can't even discuss them right now, but I think Chrysler could be a really big momentum brand. I know it could. And look, another thing is I always say that Chrysler has 9 lives. Well, they've used 3 of them already. So we
Yeah.
got a ways to go.
Yeah.
And look at it. The founder of the company, when he passed away, Chrysler, the company under the next guy that took over lasted, they did pretty well until after the war. And then things sort of trickled down. You have to have someone with important that has values, that really wants to push the brand and has excitement about it. And I know a lot of these engineers. I've met a lot of these folks that work at Chrysler. You can see they had the passion, but there's no real, Iacocca did a good job. Well, look what he gave it away to Eaton. I mean, a GM guy from Europe. I mean, I'm not bashing Eaton, but he walked away with a huge paycheck. You know, he should have thought better. That's all, the thought process. But maybe he did something that I don't know about. Maybe his thought process was that it's not going to work. And look what happened with. And another thing is when the Germans took over, we lost. We had these great contracts with Harley Davidson, the Harley Davidson Dodge truck, and all that. The different people to stop the brand because it was owned by a foreign company. That's what happened. It has to be American made. And I know, as being an underdog, we'll get a lot of support. I know there's the support out there. I'm just scraping at the top of the iceberg right now. There's a ton of support. We just have to harness it and do the right thing. And I'm excited about this. And it's taken a lot of time. I hope I can keep up. I like last night I got 5 hours of sleep. The night before I got 4 hours. It's hard during the day. So you know,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, you've started a really interesting thing here, and I think, like I said, I think it's so many of the people, like my hardcore audience, my enthusiasts that follow me, and a lot of the other guys I saw. TK's Garage is on here, OC Motivators on here. A lot of these guys, we all kind of breathe the same air, right? And a lot of these guys are 100% behind what you're trying to do and would love to see you, have an impact in one way or another, whether it's being able to buy and bring these companies back, whether it's being able to just, get Stellantis to maybe listen a little bit, whatever it is, in whatever form. If it really helps to secure American jobs, and it really helps to get better offerings for a Chrysler and help it not, get swept under the rug and go under, or maybe Dodge gets some new offerings. But I mean, we need to get people excited about the brand again. If you really think about what's going on from a brand perspective, like the overall satisfaction with any of the Mopar brands, between what's going on with the dealership network, pricing, quality control, all of it. You call it all out in your proposal. There's some changes that need to be made. And I think so many people support everything that you're trying to do. And I think that's amazing.
Well, I
Um,
really appreciate the enthusiasm from everyone. And as I said before, there's so much love out there and support. I'm just taken back. And another thing is, we wouldn't be talking tonight if I hadn't even done something 3 weeks ago. We wouldn't be talking, and we are talking. We're having a discussion that needs to happen, because these guys at Stellantis, I don't think they have a clue what's going on in the marketplace. They're over there in Europe. I mean, we have people working here, but I've talked to dealers and people that work for Stellantis in the field, not the higher ups, but the worker guys, and they're all saying the same thing that I've said. We've been thinking about this for years, but no one has done anything. Let's go to action and let's get something done. And as I said, right now, my goal is to keep moving forward. I'm not going to give up. I don't know what's going to happen, but my goal is we want to have this work. And that's all I can say right now. So,
Yeah. Well, and I know that, and I will reassure everybody that's on right now, over 400 people on, and there'll be multiple, tens of thousands that watch this after the stream is over. But, I know that you've got a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. You've got a lot of plans
yes, sir, I
coming
do.
up that you can't talk about all of it. And I think everybody can kind of understand that. But it's out there, right? I mean, it's like I said, I think a lot of people did like the fact that you did not hold back on your proposal about what's going on with the CEO at Chrysler. You just weren't happy about it. You weren't happy about the money when we're cutting jobs, about, Tavares pulling in 40 million. And then, you said a lot in your proposal, didn't hold
Well,
any punches. And I think
in
maybe that,
automotive news, I didn't mean to interrupt you. In automotive news, about 2 months ago, I save all these articles. They had a little blurb. Well, the Chrysler brand is going to come out with a new product, hopefully, next year, and it could have a hybrid or a different powertrain. I don't know what this thing says, but it was such a small little article. I read all these things. They don't say anything about Chrysler. It's pushed into the back corner. Do you ever see anything in these news journals? Nothing. Crickets. We need action. We need these brands to be pushed out there so people know there's a quality brand, there's an American brand. And I want more markings on, it's a Chrysler. It's not like some pushover vehicle where they can change the name. This is Chrysler. This brand goes back to 1924, and I don't want to see it. The first car. I mean, one of the things about his first car, it had 7-bearing crankshaft. Well, Chrysler had a couple engineers, the Three Musketeers. They came in, and one of the guys said, well, we need to be able to get to the top of a hill with more power. Well, with that extra bearing and all, they could go up the hill without having to downshift. Do you know how big that was back then? I mean, and the rubber engine mounts, a lot of people didn't have those. I mean, it just made the engine quieter. On my Imperial that I did a couple of days ago, the springs, the leaf springs are wrapped in this like kind of leather product. I'm in the shop looking at it now to make them quiet. There was so many engineering, and Chrysler, that's another thing, was known for their engineering. Chrysler was engineering all the way. We need that back today. I'm sick and tired of broken parts. We have a Pacifica, we've had problems, and diehard Chrysler people will just, brush it off and get it fixed, because what are you going to do about it? But I'm tired of seeing parts. Now, you're always going to have problems with parts, but we need to get quality control, and we can do it. Look at all the Japanese manufacturers, all these specialty brands. People love them, the Hondas and all that. Why can't we do that? We've got to be able to do it. So,
yeah, yeah. Well, and I mean, like I said, I really like the fact that you went with like the, the affordability aspect of things, because when it comes to the younger consumer, think about when we talked about it, think about like the old neons and the old stealths and all the old stuff, the stuff that kind of got guys my age when we were really young excited about the brand. We need something, we need something to get the younger generations
we need
excited about the
excitement.
brand too, right? I
We,
mean,
we need
go ahead, Frank.
excitement. We need excitement. We need something, an exciting vehicle for young people, and there's nothing there, and they're
Yeah,
too expensive. I mean, those Hornets. I mean, they're like $40,000 or $50,000, and the Jeeps and all that. I mean, I can't believe the prices have gone up so much in the last 4 years. I mean, it's insanity how much
yeah,
stuff has gone up because the price of oil has gone up, and everything goes with oil, in my opinion. So,
yeah, yeah. Well, if all right, so I want to go ahead and take just a couple of questions. So I really
sure.
appreciate you taking the time to, talk to me and talk to my audience. And I feel like this is just kind of the beginning for you. You mentioned obviously it's going to be a long road. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. It's something that's going to take a lot of hard work, just maybe even starting a conversation. And maybe you do get that meeting with Carlos Tavares, and I feel like that's going to be like a big step in the right direction. But one thing is for sure, you're not going away, and that's what we want to assure people is that, like, you kind of knew that they were going to maybe say something like this, and it's like, okay, well, guess what, I'm not going anywhere. So
Well, one
um
thing I saw one person on here mention something about concept cars. I don't know who it was, a little up the feed. And that's another thing. They have all these concept cars, but what's happening? There's a concept car, and nothing happens out of the concept. I mean, it just goes away. It's like the
right,
airflow and that new car they came out with next year. I mean, there's no action. I want action. People want cars. We need product.
yeah,
We need something
well,
to sell.
yeah, if you don't have anything to sell, it's pretty hard to have a successful business model without that. So I fully agree. I'm going to grab a super chat really quick now. One
Oh,
OC
somebody
Motor.
said they'd like to see the Plymouth come back. Right on, whoever that is.
Yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
yeah,
the
yeah,
Plymouth, when they eliminate, the Germans got rid of that. I remember when that happened. I was just really quickly. I was up at a when the Germans were there, and they had an opening at the Chrysler Museum. They had a really big thing. It was a nice event, and they wanted me to speak. And I was thinking, just before that, they said, "Well, we're discontinuing the Plymouth." I didn't have anything to say. I was just like, "Why are you doing that?" So the Plymouth is gone, the Imperial's gone, and now Chrysler's the last holdout. So let's fight to keep it.
yeah.
And
No,
Dodge, of course. Excuse me, and Dodge. So.
sure. No, 100%. And I mean, but you're right. I mean, it's awful hard to have a successful brand without giving people stuff that they want to buy.
And
And
one other
that's
thing, I can talk forever. I've been getting emails from, besides other people, people at the union are writing me that they're supporting this. I mean, I'm just getting different individuals that work there. I mean, it's important. All the people that are reaching out. It's been amazing. Okay, I'll take questions. I'm talking too much.
yeah, no, no, you're not. I mean, that's why this is opportunity for people to get to know you a little bit and kind of find, the people will find out you are a car nut, a Chrysler nut at heart, obviously. I did get a super chat here talking about a full lineup of new Chryslers and Dodges at different price points on Sketchfab and Behance. Do a collaboration video. So thank you for the super chat. I really appreciate it. I don't know if there's like a real question in there, but certainly validation of your intent with the different price points on those brands. Let's grab a couple more here. If you see anything, Frank, go ahead and grab it. Let's see. If somebody says, would you like to bring back a Neon SRT4? Somebody says, bring back the Slant 6. I'm seeing a lot of
Oh,
stuff
the
come in.
Plant Six. I've got one of those. I've got my grandparents had it. They sold eggs, and I have a Dodge Boyertown body truck from 1967. They bought it new. I had it restored. It's got a Slant Six, and that engine will run forever. I understand that's one of the top rate. That's a really super engine. Yeah, whoever said bring back the Slant Six, I don't know if that would happen, but wow, what a cool engine that was. There's no doubt about it. And all these other engines, I like to go, we have a 440, 413. They come up with all these leaders and kind of stuff. I like the American stuff. That's me.
No, I understand. Somebody saying Roadrunner, obviously Plymouth. I was a huge fan. Somebody mentioned the Viper. I was a huge fan of the Viper. Obviously, they got rid of the Viper back in 2017. I mean, there's been a lot of really great. Somebody says bring the Hellcats back. We know that's hard to do with current, standards. One thing we haven't really touched on is, if the administration changes, and I tell people this all the time, I am not political whatsoever, but if the cafe standards somehow end up getting laxed a little bit, that may end up opening up the playbook. And the pressure that you're providing right now might be the catalyst for some change, at
Oh,
least to some degree.
yeah, yeah. Look, I think another thing doing this is there's a lot of people in this country. This is one item. There's a lot of people in this country that want major change. Okay. And just doing this car event, trying to bring Chrysler back, there's other things that people want. I think this is opening up a whole conversation for people to discuss. And that's what I want to do. I want our country to succeed. I want our products to succeed. I want Chrysler and Dodge to last. I mean, it's so important. And bring the Plymouth. There's so many options we have, and these new engines that Stellantis has coming out. They're called the what is it? The 6-cylinder.
Yeah, the Hurricane.
I don't know anything about it. I've heard it's good, but I just don't know. Now maybe they're
Yeah,
going to say, "Oh, well, you need to wait." Well, I'm getting tired of waiting. I mean, they're putting all their money into Maseratis and cars all over
Alfa
the,
Romeos and stuff
yeah,
like
and
that.
this electric plane company or whatever. Come on, and they're buying back their stock. When they buy back their stock, their people at home make more money. Why don't they put that money into Chrysler or into Dodge and bring out brands here and make people, if they do it right, people will buy their products. But I just don't think they know how to. They don't know the American market.
Yeah, well, and I've actually said that in several, and a lot of people know me as somebody who I try and be pretty objective about things, pretty kind of even keel, open minded,
You
and I've
are.
tried to see really the good in everything going on. And like I said, when the new electric car comes out, I'm gonna go drive it. I'm gonna give everybody my open, honest thought about it. I'm actually more excited about the Hurricane car, but at the end of the day, I would love to see something new and fun and exciting that people, because there's so much negativity surrounding the brand right now. And you and I both know that, right? About Chrysler, about Dodge, about Mopar in general, a lot of negativity out there. And you
We
have
got
kind of
to
started
change
this
that.
movement.
We have
Well,
to.
that's what I'm saying. You've started this movement where that's your whole goal. It's like, how do we get this? How do we get this ship righted, so to speak? And I think that's why so many people are tuning in right now, still over 400 people on. And so many people want to get behind you in one way or the other, whatever it takes.
Well, I'm
And
there. Let's keep doing these interviews. I don't have a problem with this. I want to talk. I want to keep talking. I want people to ask questions. I'm looking at all these questions on here, and I can't answer them all. It's just so cool what people are saying. And just thank you to everyone that's on this channel. Let's keep this mission going. As I said, we started the ball rolling. Let's continue. And I appreciate that you have me on this tonight. Let's ask some more questions. I'm fine if you
yeah,
want.
well, so Andrew, thank you for the super chat, Andrews. I'm a diehard Chrysler Dodge Plymouth fan, 25 years old. I drive a Dodge Grand Caravan, LOL. He says LOL, but I mean, it's a good product. But I've always loved these brands since I was a boy. I hope and pray these brands will come home and be affordable again. I love these brands. So that's the kind of comments you're getting a lot of right now.
A
Thank you for
lot
the
of
super.
that. And
Yeah.
even if the Pacifica, it's a good, they're all good vehicles, but it's like we're down to the last vehicle. I mean, come on. Is the writing on the wall? What is Stellantis trying to do? They say they want to support all that. They call this today their 15 great brands. Well, I'm sure, well, whatever they said. We've got to really focus on our American brands. I mean, how many Fiats did they sell last year? How many Alfa Romeos did they
And
sell?
yeah,
I
the
bet you they
American
sold
market
more.
doesn't like those vehicles. You can see it in the sale. I've looked at it on Good Car, Bad Car. You can see it right there. But those vehicles just don't do well in our market, in the U.S. market, unfortunately. So, like you said, the consumers are different in Europe than they are in the United States, and I think that was one of the big reasons that you wanted to make that change. So, overnight asks. That's one of my super mods, by the way. He asks.
Uh-oh.
It's an honor. And he says, do you have any plans to bring your idea to President Trump? Well, of course, the election's not happened yet, but kind of an interesting question for you there. So, I mean, we're still in the infancy stages, obviously, but I'll let you answer that.
I'm going to try to, like you, I have my beliefs, but I need to stay a little neutral on all this. And I hope this gentleman is not upset with me saying that, because yes, we need to have someone who really cares about our workers and all that. But then you have the people on the other sides, and I've just got to, like, right now, I've just got to play the middle road, and I don't want to get political. Oh, I could, but I think I just want to stay a little neutral on all that right now. And who knows? Maybe he'll reach out to me. I'll talk to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
So,
I'll talk to the other side too. I mean, look, there was a lady up in who's that congressman up in Detroit? She's one of the squad ladies, and she came out and she said, under no circumstances are the Chinese going to buy Chrysler. Now, how do you like that? So there's a lot of people that feel like we do, that they don't want the foreigners coming in here and buying our stuff. I think I was right on that. So if I'm wrong, I apologize. But I'm just saying, we need we need support from everyone for this. And I think our government, if something came down with the Chrysler, we'd have support from everyone. That's what I want. I want to keep it going. So
yeah, no, I understand.
did I
And,
did I answer that okay to the gentleman that was there? because
You
I've seen.
did, yeah, and I think everybody understands your position. I certainly do. And I think I never jumped down the political rabbit hole, so to speak. I kind of let that lie. But I think a lot will change based on what happens in November. In either way, I mean, I think your agenda remains the same, right? You
It
want to
does.
bring
No matter who wins, I'm moving forward with our plan. I'm going to move forward, and we'll just see where this goes. I'm not, as I said, I'm not going to give up. I don't know where this is going to end up, but I'm positive that we can do something. I feel very positive that we can make change, and that's what I'm in this for. What the change is going to be and what's going to happen, I don't know the outcome right now, but I'm going to keep pushing for change, and I have a lot of support.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. And I'm going to grab just a couple more quick questions. I did see
Look at
one
this
come through
guy.
just a second ago.
Sovereign Knight said, "Keep fighting." I'm looking at these. You
Yeah.
know, I love it. I just, I love the support. You guys, you have a great group here.
I've got a great group of core subscribers that support me. And ultimately, like I said, they're car people just like you and I. And I think they can get behind something like this. So somebody asked, would you be willing to do some sort of a collab with like a Toyota or somebody to make a better hybrid system if you were able to get to that point? What do you
all
think about something
options,
like that?
all options. I guess this is what Mr. Dieter Zesha said. All options are on the table. Well, you know something? I can't answer that. And we'll just have to keep moving forward because who knows what's going to come out of the woodwork. I just think there's so many ideas. We've only been doing this for 2 weeks, and I'm doing an interview and I'm getting all these responses and we got all this national press. So something good is happening here. This is a good thing. It's been really challenging. It's been hard for me, but I'm going to
Yeah.
keep I'm going to keep fighting for the brand. And I don't think, as I said, I don't think Stellantis is being truthful with our pub. I think there's a lot of things they're not doing. I think they could do a lot more, but that's me. So
Yeah, no, I
that's
mean, a
my
lot of
opinion.
people agree with you. Ron says, hell yeah, Frank, we love you. Good stuff.
Oh, you too, Ron.
That's awesome.
If BMW can do it, so can Chrysler Dodge. Yes, sir. I like that one. You know,
Yeah.
uh, I'm trying to look at some of these.
Yeah, they
These
come across pretty fast.
yeah,
But yeah, see this. So
but
Hellslaw
how
says,
about
we
like
love you, Frank.
how about the
Mopar, no car.
Yeah, Mopar, no car. How about this plant at the Belvedere? And how about these plants in Detroit? These guys don't know if their job's going to be there. A lot of them, they count on the salary. They count. I've had people write me. I've worked for Chrysler for 35 or 40 years, and
Yeah.
now that I'm laid off or have a temporary work. Come on, Stellantis, treat our people well. We need our workers to be treated with care and with respect. And as I said, when I go up to Detroit, I love to walk on the assembly lines because those are the people that do all the work and they respect that. I'm not there to say, hey, I'm Frank Rhodes. I'm up there to talk to them about their families and what they do and respect what they do. And that's what we need to do more in this country.
Yeah, no, I think like I said, a lot of people would agree with that sentiment. And one thing I will add just really quick, and something that
Sure.
stood out to me in our initial conversation was it still sticks with me, right? It's you. I asked you about kind of why you were doing all this, and you kind of basically you said, why wouldn't I? I said, I love the brand. And if I died
It's
tomorrow, at
family to
least
me.
well, and you said basically like if I died tomorrow, at least I tried. And that was the biggest thing for you is like, you might try and fail, but it's 100% chance you're going to fail if you don't try.
Yes. And I did
And
something. That's what I think. What I like what you said. I went out there. An old timer at Chrysler told me one time he was in charge of. He passed away during 2009. I went to all these hearings in Washington, and this guy ran Chrysler Financial. His name slips me right now, but anyhow, I went to one of these rallies and I said, I'm trying to do this, and he says, Frank, never say you're trying. Say you're doing it. And what he meant by that was you're doing something, and that's what I am doing. And I've been to these rallies. I remember all these different events I've been to when the workers were when Mr. Uh, who's the gentleman that ran the Chrysler division under Nardelli? Think of his name. Anyhow, a lot of these folks wanted to do something, but their hands were tied. And I think the people up at Stellantis right now, I think the executives that are running Chrysler, I think their hands are tied. They're in there to do something, but they want to do something, and then they're saying no. The management says no, we're not doing that. So they got to be the fall people, and I don't like that.
Yeah, no, I think most people would agree with that as well. So, and I've said that. I mean, I feel because I mean, like I said, I know the brass up at Dodge. Those guys, they are hardcore like car people. You know, Tim Kuniskis is no longer with the company anymore, but even Matt McAleer, I mean, he's a car guy, and I know he would love to be able to work without the confines of what he has to work within, but he still has to do whatever he can with what he's given. Right, he has to play the cards he's dealt.
Yes,
You're
sir.
taking a different approach on this, and you're like, we just need to we need to reset. And like I said, I think that's why so many people really love it. They love your passion, they love your enthusiasm,
Jim
and
Press. I just thought of it. Jim Press was the guy.
yeah,
And I got to tell you this story. I went to. I got to tell you this story. I went to the docks because they had a big rally there, and I bought this flag, and I have it right here. I could probably hold it up, but I have a flag from when Chrysler was in the space and missile division, and they were, by the way, they led the whole thing after World War II for about 10 years to 15 years. I had this flag, and I have it right now. It's signed by a lot of the engineers. There's hundreds of signatures on it, and I held it up at this rally, and he was sitting there holding it with me. I was so proud to do that. I mean, you've got to fight for what you believe in, and that's what I do. And I've been doing it for years, and I've had it with what they're doing, because if we don't do it now, look, that this brand could be gone soon. Maybe it'll be held on for a while now. If we get something going, they could knock it off at any time. And then today they said, well, we're going to stick with all our brands. We have a 10-year plan. Well, everything's being pushed off. All the prototypes are gone. What's happening? So
yeah, no,
am I
I
speaking off? I'm just speaking realistically to you. You
yeah,
know,
no,
we
I
need
mean, I
to,
think that people appreciate how you feel, and they appreciate the truth and your candor. And I certainly do. And I think, like I said, I think you bring a lot of really important points to the table, and things that need to be addressed. They need to be discussed, and we need to find solutions to these things if we want to see our beloved brand. And none of this comes from a hatred, right? I mean, it's the exact
no,
opposite, right? We're not out there trying to be negative. We're out there trying
to be
to
positive.
exactly. We're out there trying to be positive and kind of shed a light on some things that would maybe ultimately help the brand down the road.
And it might,
Um,
it might. Who knows what's going to come out of Stellantis? One thing I want to say is, and I'm going to change the subject for a second. We're
sure.
having this big rally at Chrysler Carlisle next summer, and we're going to have probably the largest collection of Chrysler products ever seen in this country. I mean, I have two guys that are bringing Sherman tanks, and I'm just going to tell the story. They have this huge hill there, and we're going to have all the Chrysler military vehicles up there, and it's going to be the arsenal of democracy. That's just one part of it. People are going to be able to see the history, and that's why I brought out that video a couple of days ago. A friend of mine at the WPC club had all the pictures of all the past Chrysler cars. I don't think people know what Chrysler has done. People, they don't know all that history. Now, it's history, okay? It doesn't make you money, but they've got to know where this brand, where it comes from, and where it's going.
Sure. I think I agree 100%. I mean, I think it's important to know the heritage and the base, right? The foundation of what built that company. And when you stray too far from those roots, I think you tend to alienate a lot of the core people that supported you for so many decades. And that's I think why so many folks resonate with what you're trying to do. So I think
It's
that's
all about
truly
money
amazing.
these days. That's the problem. So we're gonna have to figure out how to solve that problem. It is all about money. You got to make money to keep in business. But I think I know if we come up with some great plans and great designs, you want people to go, is that is that a Chrysler? I go to places and they look at my car, they don't even know what it is because there's no badging on it. And I have two 300s, and I'm just like, gosh, people don't even know what the brand is. It's like fading into obscurity. We need to bring it back. We need to have excitement where people come back and say, man, I just saw this car today and it's a Chrysler. I mean, it can be done. We can do this with the right people and the enthusiasm with people like you and all the people that are on here. So
Yeah, no, I agree, and I told you I was going to try and keep you at under an hour. We could literally sit here and talk all night because you not only are a huge, Chrysler, Dodge, Mopar fan, but obviously so am I, and everybody else on this deal here tonight with us. But thank you for taking the time to talk to me and my audience. Like I said, lots of people will be watching this. You're just getting started, right? And so, if you could leave my audience with kind of one final thought about where we are right now and where you want to be, what would it be? I mean, what could we leave with tonight in terms of what you're trying to do, and ultimately what we can do to help?
Well, first of all, we got to bring Chrysler and Dodge back to American ownership. I mean, we got to bring that here. That's my goal. If it happens, that would be awesome. I want people to know that we have the potential to do something great. I know we do. And I've just got to keep the fight going. We have the people out there, and I want to have people excited about what could happen with Chrysler. We're going to get ideas, and I'm going to be asking you and your support, everyone, for ideas. And we're going to be coming trickling on and on and on. This is not stopping right now. I'll keep you, the excitement's coming. That's all I'm going to say. We're going to have exciting ideas, and no matter what they do to try to stop me, that's not going to happen. I've had this happen before. You can't give up because people want you to give up real fast. So, and I'm not going to do it. And I know the group I have, I'm assembling some good people that are smart, and we're going to keep the fight going.
That's great. No, and I really appreciate that. I know I'm looking at all these positive comments come
I know.
across
Look
right
at
now.
this. I wish I could answer all of them, but they move
No,
so
it's
fast.
hard to do. They come in fast, but I mean, you can literally just read really quick how much support, how many people are behind you right now. Continue the fight. You're going to have a lot of interviews and a lot of things coming up, and I know it is exhausting. But however we can help, as a group, whatever we can do to help support the brands in general and help your cause, or just whatever we can do to help Stellantis in some way. I mean, I just want to see the brands be successful at the end of the day. I
Yes.
know ultimately that's what you want.
Yes,
And
sir.
we really appreciate, you're a guy that just decided, you know what, today I'm going to be a doer, and I'm not going to be just a talker.
And
And
one last thing is we need to take care of our American workers. I'm sorry, I'm not, this has got to change. I understand you can get stuff built in Mexico or in China for a lot less money, but these people care. They truly care about the brand. And I want to show you something here. I have this, I don't know if you can see it. This is my car. This is the last 300 off the assembly line. Can you see that? I don't know.
I
All the
can, there's a little bit of glare. Oh, I see it there. You have the red 300C. It's beautiful.
Yes, sir. And I'm driving that up to Detroit a couple times. I'm going around with it and showing it off. But it's a great car. So
That's wonderful. I love the 300C. I've done a couple reviews on that car, and it is fantastic. I wish they would have given us the 300 Hellcat, but we know that didn't happen.
well, this is only a 392, but I'm going to do a video, a nice story on my 300. So that's going to be coming up. I've got one coming up on a Daytona really soon, and a Dodge Daytona 69. Oh, and by the way, one thing, that sheriff, what was the sheriff? He looked like in the 70s, would pull up to cars and say, you're speeding or whatever. That guy that did all those stories.
Man,
Well,
it has been a minute. I don't remember.
I've
I
looked at
should
the video.
probably.
There's one where he pulls over this guy. Let's say this last thing I'll say. He pulls over this guy, and he has a Dodge really high Dart. I don't know what the car he has, but he goes, "You're speeding, son," or something like that. And then he goes, and the kid goes, you pulled me over because I took a chicken, or he stole some kind of a chicken. So the whole thing went on, and the guy's asking about his car. And at the end, he said, "Okay, you can go." And the police guy, the big guy, opens the trunk up, and about 50 chickens come out. I mean, Chrysler had some great ads back then. I mean, really fun ads. We need to
Yeah.
show that stuff. I mean, I know people remember what I'm talking about. It was Sheriff.
Yeah, you got a lot of comments coming in. Somebody said Buford, Dukes of
Yeah,
Hazard.
yeah. Buford. What was his name? Anyhow,
Yeah,
you'll something. I'm going to read some stuff from him. But there's so many things I know and I've studied over the years. We just got to keep it going. So,
yeah, I agree. Well, thank you for taking the time, Frank. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry about all the technical issues when we first started it, but we finally got it.
well, I think
So,
some of the people were a little upset in the beginning, but
well, I mean, YouTube,
that's what happens. It's not your fault.
technology. What do you do? But we got it done, and thank you for the time. And keep me posted so I can keep my audience posted on what they can do. If there's anything they can do to help get behind you in any way, shape, or form, I need to let them know. So we'll stay in touch.
And I'll be willing to do more of these interviews. I enjoy it. It was fun. It's
It was
fun.
fun. I appreciate the time, guys. Thank you guys for tuning in tonight. Frank, keep doing what you're doing. Keep fighting. So many positive comments. And go get some rest, buddy. We'll talk soon.
Take care now. Bye.
Okay. Bye bye.